Hello, I'm Yikun Wang. This is my DE7606 extended research project titled The Red Thread of Memory. I used young buttons and paper to create stop-motion animations, telling 3 episodes of family-related memories: smell, warmth, and touch. The target audience is people aged 12 and above. My process combines family interviews, on-site and online research, and studio practice, presented through a nonlinear structure to convey fragmented memories. Today, I will introduce proposal, LO1 research and analysis, LO2 experimentation and practice, and finally, the conclusion. The red thread is the core symbol of this project, representing connection, memory, and care. My goal was to transform everyday objects into narrative symbols with emotional resonance, so that the audience could feel subtle and warm emotions within familiar domestic spaces. The research questions were: how can stop-motion express personal and fragmented memory? How can color shape the viewer's emotional response? And how can handcrafted materials enhance storytelling and empathy? These questions guided my material tests, storyboard design, and filming methods. I started with family interviews, speaking with my mother and grandmother about their memories of kitchen and reading, such as wood-fired stoves, copper pots, making dumplings for festivals, reading newspapers, browsing old magazines, and writing diaries or notes. These first-hand stories helped define the emotional tone of my project: warm, restrained, and tactile, and pointed to materials that could carry memory. Before making my mood board, I joined some earlier workshops where we talked about the themes, people, place, and objects. During the discussions, I sketched ideas about each one. For place, I draw a kitchen I remember, with small details like the layout and the cooking tools. This helped me think about memory and emotion in everyday spaces. I also worked with my tutor to draw sketches based on words like reimagine and represent. From there, I came up with my first idea for the animation, putting a red thread inside a cooking pot to show how memories can live in ordinary objects. These earlier drawings becomes the starting point for my mood board. Based on this, I created people, place, object mood boards. People focusing on intimacy and safety, place focusing on everyday domestic space like kitchens, and object focusing on young buttons and other tactile items. This process transferred verbal memories into visual and material references. I observed Waterstone bookstore to study how rhythm, layout, and color influence atmosphere, and purchased 2 books relevant to my theme. I also conducted online research on Giuseppe Penn, whose works with leaves and golden lines explore breathing, memory, and the body. This inspired me to use simple, natural materials to carry emotional weight. Finally, I completed training at Moving Image Studio, learning animation multiplan, lighting, and dragon frame, which provided the technical foundation for project. I studied works by Piero Manzoni, Paz William Kentridge, and Kristen Boltanski. From decolored materiality, material substitution, and charcoal erasure as memory return, to small memory still life storytelling. These influences lead me to abandon ready-made plastic figures in favor of handmade characters and symbolic sets. Theoretically, I drew from Janet H. Murray's kaleidoscopic view, seeing memory, multi-perspective fragments, which shaped my 3-episode non-linear structure and visual collage. I tested yarn with containers and buttons, exploring texture and symbolic meanings, and tried 5 different background colors. I chose red to reinforce the warmth and memory tone. In the WIP show at the MA Illustration Studio, I presented the yarn ball as an installation, allowing viewers to experience its volume and texture in space. This helped me plan the camera distance and pacing for filming. I also screened early test videos in the graphic design studio to evaluate audience reactions and visual clarity. Based on earlier research and adjustments, I completed storyboards for 3 episodes. Smell: the red thread enters a pot, transforms into an eye, an ear, and a pregnant mom, and ends with the cutting of an umbilical cord. Warmth: The red thread turns into cotton and sweaters, wrapping a small figure like a horse, portraying the recovery process of a small figure with a cold touch. The red thread becomes beads and buttons, forming a stroller or a crepe. I then redesigned the characters and props using yarn and watercolor paper, and handmade all the shooting materials, including yarn balls, eyes, ears, and other detailed components. Filming took place entirely at the moving image studio, using animation multiplan and dragon frame. During filming, I layered the handmade materials on the multiplan setup, capturing each change frame by frame to maintain depth and stability. In a tutorial, I showed my tutor the work in progress. The tutor suggested adding the baby's cry and the soft "Can you hear me" to the soundtrack, as well as enhancing close-ups of eyes and symbolic details. I implemented these changes, which significantly increased the emotional impact and the narrative clarity. I completed all 3 episodes of the animation and selected 6 keyframes for each. This is a keyframe screenshot of episode 1, Smell of Home. This is a keyframe screenshot of episode 2, Warm Clothes. This is a keyframe screenshot of episode 3, Soft Touch. During the studio showcase, I received positive feedback, such as "I love the outcome," "I like how you are reflecting on your journey," and "the animation of winter clothes was very relatable." This confirmed the clarity of the red thread symbolism and the warmth of the overall tone. The final animation was released on YouTube and uploaded to Microsoft Stream for internal backup. A QR code was included on the slides for easy access by accessors and the public. Backup links were also prepared in case of playback issues. For LO1, I used family interviews, moodboards, and on-site online research to establish the emotional and material direction of the project, applying a kaleidoscopic, non-linear structure to organize fragmented memories. Visiting exhibition and analysis artist methods also strengthened my approach to materials and symbolism. For LO2, I went through the entire process from material and lighting tests, storyboard design, and studio filming to feedback lead refinements. The key change was replacing ready-made figures with fully handmade ones, using multiplan and dragon frame to improve layering and stability, tutorial advice on sound and framing, and peer feedback on the installation and the symbolism pushed me to refine the work further. The main challenge was balancing symbolism with narrative, which I resolved by focusing on symbolic clarity, enhancing close-ups, and refining sound. In the future, I would like to create red thread opening and closing sequences, and continue gathering feedback to fine-tune pacing and audio. That concludes my presentation. In LO1, I established a clear emotional and material direction through systematic research and analysis, and effectively translated this into narrative structure and visual symbolism. In LO2, I refined the work through experimentation, production, and multiple feedback cycles, making the emotional expression and the symbolic meaning more coherent and complete. This process has strengthened my creative methods and deepened my understanding of how to balance personal emotion with audience engagement in storytelling. This is all of my work for the project. Thank you for watching.